Have you ever stood in the shadow of something so immense, so ancient, that it made the everyday world just fade away? That feeling, that breathtaking mix of awe and curiosity, is something travelers have sought for centuries, and it's why ancient wonders continue to call to us across the millennia. Whether it's the silent grandeur of the Great Pyramid of Giza or the haunting beauty of Machu Picchu perched among misty peaks, these places hold a power that goes beyond their stones. They pull at something deep within us, something that longs to touch the past and feel connected to the countless human stories that have unfolded there. In this video, we're setting out on a journey to understand exactly why these sites capture our imagination so completely. It's more than just impressive architecture or beautiful photos. It's about how standing in these spaces makes us feel small yet significant, humble yet inspired. We'll explore the psychology behind that sense of awe, how mystery fuels our curiosity, and why walking through ruins can feel like stepping into a story that's still being told. These wonders aren't just relics, they're living proof of human ingenuity, spirituality, and the universal desire to create something lasting. So if you've ever felt drawn to places steeped in history, if you've wondered what it would be like to trace the steps of pharaohs, emperors, or builders whose names are lost to time, you're in the right place. Together, we'll uncover the layers of meaning behind these iconic sites and discover what they reveal not just about those who built them, but about ourselves. This is an invitation to explore, to feel, and to remember that you're part of a story much larger than your own. Let's begin. There's something almost magical about the way ancient structures seem to exist outside of time. You can stand in the shadow of the Roman Colosseum, a place that has witnessed nearly 2,000 years of human drama, gladiator battles, imperial ceremonies, the slow creep of vines and time, and yet it feels as immediate and imposing as the day it was completed. This is the allure of timelessness, a quality that makes these wonders feel both eternal and deeply present. It's not just about their age, it's about their enduring presence. They are silent witnesses to the full sweep of history, having seen empires rise and fall, cultures transform, and the world change in ways their builders could never have imagined. When you run your hand over stones worn smooth by centuries of weather and touch, you are quite literally touching time itself. This creates a powerful bridge between the past and present, a direct line to people who lived, loved, and built under the same sun and stars. Historians like Dr. Elena Vance describe this sensation as a form of temporal dissonance, a jarring but beautiful feeling where the ancient and the modern collide. It forces us to confront our own place in the vast timeline of humanity, making our individual lives feel fleeting yet simultaneously part of something much grander. We are not just observers of history when we visit these places, we become participants in an ongoing story. You stand on the same steps where a Roman citizen once stood. You gaze through the same archway, and for a moment the centuries melt away. This connection to the continuous thread of human experience is a profound and deeply emotional draw. It satisfies a fundamental curiosity about where we come from and a longing to feel linked to those who came before us, fueling the desire to seek out these places and experience that powerful, personal connection to history firsthand. But it's not just the age of these places that overwhelms us, it's their sheer, staggering size. Picture yourself at the foot of the Great Pyramid, your neck cranes backward, your eyes struggling to take in its full height as it blots out the sky. Or imagine walking along the Great Wall of China, seeing it snake endlessly over mountains and valleys, a stone dragon whose tail disappears into the horizon. This is the psychological impact of scale and grandeur, and it triggers one of the most powerful emotions we can experience: awe. Psychologists define awe as that feeling of being in the presence of something vast that transcends our current understanding of the world. It's a humbling sensation that makes us feel small, yet paradoxically, deeply connected to everything around us. Ancient architects understood this power intuitively. They designed structures like the temples of Angkor Wat or the Colosseum, not just for function, but to inspire this exact feeling of reverence and humility. The proportions were deliberately meant to dwarf the individual, to make a person feel like a single part of a much grander design, and this experience does something remarkable to us. Studies in positive psychology have shown that feeling awe can actually make us better people, more generous, more cooperative, and more connected to our communities. It shifts our focus away from our own narrow concerns and plugs us into a broader sense of humanity. When your brain is trying to process something of such immense scale, it literally forces you to pause. Time seems to slow down. You become fully present in that moment, absorbing every detail, and that's why these experiences create such vivid and lasting memories. We aren't just seeing a big building, we are feeling something profound. That emotional high, that breathtaking moment of wonder, becomes a touchstone we carry with us. And it's a primary reason we yearn to travel to these sites. We're chasing that feeling. We want to be reminded that there are things in this world so magnificent, so vast, that they make our everyday worries seem small, and in doing so, they expand our own sense of what is possible. And yet, for all their imposing grandeur, it is often the unanswered questions that truly captivate us. Beyond the scale and the history, many ancient wonders are wrapped in layers of profound mystery. How were the massive stone heads of Easter Island, the Moai, transported across the island by a society with no modern technology? What was their true purpose? Were they ancestral guardians, religious symbols, or something else entirely? Even the Great Pyramid of Giza, for all we think we know, still holds tightly to its secrets. The precise methods used to quarry, move, and position millions of stone blocks with such astronomical accuracy remain one of history's most compelling puzzles. These are not merely historical footnotes. They are gaping holes in our understanding of human capability, and they ignite a fire of curiosity within us. We are hardwired to seek answers, to solve puzzles, and these sites represent the ultimate challenge. They force us to question the established narratives of history and to wonder if we have underestimated the ingenuity and knowledge of our ancestors. This enigma transforms a tourist visit into something far more personal, a quest. You are no longer just a spectator, you become an investigator, standing on that sacred ground, turning over the same questions that have perplexed scholars for centuries. Authors and researchers like Graham Hancock have tapped directly into this deep-seated curiosity, weaving together archaeological findings with speculative theories that, whether you agree with them or not, add a thrilling layer of narrative intrigue. They make the past feel alive, dynamic, and full of possibilities we're only beginning to grasp. This element of the unknown is a powerful magnet. It's the reason we lean in closer to hear a local guide's theory, why we spend hours reading after we return home, and why the memory of a place like Stonehenge or Petra lingers so long in our mind. The journey to understand becomes as rewarding as the destination itself, because we are not just consuming history, we are actively engaging with it, participating in a mystery that spans millennia. That tantalizing possibility that you might glimpse a clue everyone else has missed is what keeps the allure of these ancient wonders so potent and evergreen. Beyond the thrill of the mysterious and the awe of the grand, there lies an even more profound pull: the deep human need to connect. When we walk through the ruins of Machu Picchu, we are not just seeing an architectural marvel perched among the clouds, we are stepping into the world of the Inca. We can almost feel the presence of the people who lived there, understand their sophisticated understanding of astronomy by the way the sun strikes the Intihuatana stone during the solstice, and grasp their profound reverence for the mountains they considered deities. This is the power of cultural and historical connection. Ancient wonders are the closest thing we have to time machines. They are open-air museums where the exhibits are not behind glass but all around you, inviting you to touch, to listen, to imagine. You can run your fingers along the grooves in a Roman road, worn down by countless chariot wheels, and suddenly the distant past feels intimately close. This tangible link satisfies a fundamental curiosity about our shared human story. It answers the question, how did they live? What did they value? In doing so, it allows us to appreciate the incredible diversity of human thought and achievement. As anthropologist Dr. Lena Petrova points out, this isn't a passive learning experience. Actively engaging with these spaces fosters a genuine empathy for people separated from us by centuries. We begin to see them not as primitive or foreign, but as ingenious, complex humans who faced challenges, celebrated victories, and built legacies with the tools and knowledge they had. This empathy naturally extends to the modern cultures that are the inheritors of these ancient traditions, breaking down barriers and enriching our travel far beyond any guidebook description. Ultimately, this journey into the past holds up a mirror, helping us to see our own cultural identity more clearly. By understanding the values and struggles of those who came before, we gain a new perspective on our own place in the long, unfolding story of humanity, realizing that we too are adding our chapter to a narrative that began millennia ago. Now layer that sense of connection with the power of a great story, and you have something truly irresistible. These ancient stones don't just stand in silence. They seem to whisper legends of gods, heroes, and epic events that have been passed down for generations. This is the profound role of storytelling and myth. A visit to the Parthenon in Athens is impressive for its architecture alone, but it becomes utterly transcendent when you know it was dedicated to the goddess Athena, born fully grown from the head of her father Zeus, and that it was the heart of a city that saw itself as the pinnacle of civilization. You're not just looking at broken columns, you're walking through the setting of a divine drama. These narratives add a rich layer of significance and drama, transforming a physical site into an immersive experience where every carved relief and fallen pillar feels charged with meaning. Think of the Colosseum, where the roar of the crowd seems to echo not just for gladiatorial combat, but for the martyrs and myths that grew around it. Or consider the Valley of the Kings in Egypt, where the mere mention of a pharaoh's curse surrounding Tutankhamun's tomb is enough to send a shiver down your spine, adding a thrill of danger and mystery to the archaeological wonder. This narrative power hasn't been lost on modern creators. Filmmakers from Hollywood to Bollywood have long mined these myths, turning the lost city of Atlantis or the battlegrounds of Troy into cinematic spectacles that capture our collective imagination. When we see these places on the big screen, they become archetypes of adventure and discovery, cemented in our minds as destinations we must one day see for ourselves. This blending of factual history with legendary folklore creates a potent emotional cocktail. It allows us to engage with these wonders on two levels: the intellectual, where we appreciate the historical facts, and the imaginative, where we can lose ourselves in the epic tales. We don't just want to see the rocks of Troy, we want to stand on the ground where Hector and Achilles supposedly dueled, to picture the Trojan horse, and to feel the weight of a story that has shaped literature for millennia. This desire to physically enter a story we've always known, to walk the same ground as our mythical heroes, is a fundamental driver of wanderlust. It turns a simple vacation into a pilgrimage into the very heart of our shared imagination. And as we move from the stories that give these places soul to the very stones that give them form, we encounter perhaps the most tangible source of our awe, the sheer, staggering brilliance of their construction. The architectural marvels left behind by ancient civilizations are not merely old, they are masterclasses in engineering, design, and visionary thinking that continue to baffle and inspire experts to this day. Consider the Pantheon in Rome, a building that has stood for nearly 2,000 years. Its magnificent dome, still the world's largest unreinforced concrete dome, seems to defy physics as it floats effortlessly above you, its central oculus open to the heavens, casting a beam of light that travels slowly across the interior like a celestial clock. The Romans used progressively lighter aggregates in their concrete mix as they built upward, a sophisticated material science solution we are only now fully beginning to appreciate. Then there are the Mayan astronomers and architects at Chichen Itza, who designed El Castillo, the Great Pyramid, with such precision that during the spring and autumn equinoxes, the interplay of sunlight and shadow creates the illusion of a serpent slithering down the northern staircase, a breathtaking fusion of art, astronomy, and architecture designed to unite Earth with the cosmos. This is not primitive guesswork, it is evidence of a deep, sophisticated understanding of mathematics, geometry, and the movements of celestial bodies. When we stand before these structures, we aren't just looking at piles of rock. We are witnessing the pinnacle of human problem solving, the result of countless hours of observation, experimentation, and ingenious adaptation. They built without computers, without modern machinery, often without even the wheel, relying instead on profound intellect, meticulous planning, and the collective effort of thousands. This realization sparks a unique form of admiration, one mixed with a humbling curiosity. We find ourselves asking not just what is this, but how on earth did they do it? That question draws engineers who study the acoustics of ancient amphitheaters, still perfect for carrying a whisper from the stage to the highest seat. It captivates architects who analyze the earthquake-resistant techniques used in Incan masonry, where stones are cut to fit together so perfectly that not even a blade of grass can slip between them, allowing the walls to dance during tremors rather than crumble. This appreciation makes us students all over again. We stop being passive tourists simply checking a site off a list and become active learners, hungry to understand the methods and the minds behind the monuments. We see the legacy of human potential etched into every stone, a powerful reminder that genius is not a modern invention. This respect for ancient ingenuity, this desire to stand in the presence of such timeless innovation, is a powerful and enduring reason why these architectural triumphs remain at the very top of our travel dreams. Yet beyond the staggering intellect and the captivating stories, these ancient sites often hold something even more profound, a palpable sense of the sacred. Long before they became tourist destinations, places like Stonehenge, the Parthenon, and the temples of Luxor were designed with a singular, powerful purpose: to serve as bridges between the earthly and the divine. They were not just buildings, they were carefully engineered portals for prayer, meditation, and ritual, constructed to align with celestial events and harness the energies of the natural world. This original intent seems to have seeped into the very stones, creating an atmosphere that many modern visitors describe as uniquely charged and peaceful. It's a feeling that goes beyond simple aesthetics or historical interest. You can stand in the center of the Stonehenge circle at dawn and feel a hushed reverence, not because a sign tells you to, but because the arrangement of the massive stones in relation to the solstice sun creates a natural cathedral that commands quiet contemplation. Similarly, walking through the massive columns of the Parthenon, you are treading on ground once believed to be the home of a goddess, a place where ancient Athenians came to feel closer to Athena and to seek her wisdom and protection. This lingering spiritual energy resonates deeply in our contemporary world, a time when many people feel disconnected from traditional religious institutions but are actively seeking mindfulness, deeper meaning, and alternative forms of connection. In a fast-paced digital life, the chance to stand in a space that has been a focus of devotion for thousands of years offers a rare opportunity to unplug and look inward. Travelers often speak of unexpected moments of clarity or a gentle, transformative shift in perspective when visiting these sites, a sense of being a small part of a vast, beautiful mystery. This isn't about subscribing to a specific ancient belief system. It's about tapping into a universal human yearning for transcendence and peace. For someone on a journey of self-discovery, walking these sacred paths can feel like a pilgrimage, a physical act that mirrors an internal search for answers. The draw is powerful and deeply personal, turning a visit to an ancient wonder into much more than a sightseeing trip. It becomes a quest to touch something timeless within ourselves, fueled by the silent, enduring energy of places built to reach for the heavens. Of course, the stories we tell about these places are just as powerful as the stones themselves, and in our modern era, no force shapes those stories more than popular culture. Think about the first time you saw Indiana Jones duck under a crushing stone door or outrun a giant boulder in a booby-trapped temple. That sense of high-stakes adventure, of history as a thrilling puzzle to be solved, didn't just stay on the screen, it implanted a specific, exhilarating image of exploration directly into our imaginations. Blockbuster films have an unparalleled ability to romanticize these ancient sites, transforming them from static ruins into dynamic backdrops for heroism and discovery. But it's not just Hollywood. Documentaries with sweeping aerial shots and sonorous narrators bring the majesty of Machu Picchu or Petra directly into our living rooms, granting us a god's-eye view that feels both intimate and epic. And now, in the digital age, social media influencers and travel bloggers have become the new storytellers, offering a seemingly personal, accessible window into these wonders. A perfectly curated Instagram feed filled with sunrise at Angkor Wat or a serene shot of the Roman Forum at golden hour does more than just showcase beauty. It creates a powerful, aspirational blueprint. It tells us not only that this place is worth seeing but exactly how to see it, which angle to capture, the best time of day to go, the exact emotion we should expect to feel. This constant media exposure creates a fascinating paradox. We arrive at a site for the very first time with a deep sense of familiarity. We've already seen it from every angle, heard its stories, and absorbed its aura. This doesn't diminish the experience, it amplifies the anticipation. It makes the journey feel like a reunion with a place we've known in our dreams. And the real act of travel becomes about closing the loop between the image and the reality. We're driven to stand in that exact spot, to capture our own version of that perfect photo, not just as proof we were there, but to physically step into the narrative we've consumed for so long. This cycle is self-perpetuating. The more a site is featured in media, the more it solidifies its status as a must-see destination, which in turn inspires more content creation. This ensures that these ancient wonders are never relegated to the dusty pages of history books. They remain vibrant, relevant, and perpetually desirable, constantly being rediscovered and reimagined for each new generation of travelers who are eager to see for themselves if the real thing can possibly live up to the magic they've already been sold. This seamless fusion of human creation and the natural world is perhaps one of the most quietly stunning aspects of ancient wonders. Unlike modern cities that often dominate the landscape, many of these ancient sites feel as though they have grown directly from the earth itself. The lost city of Petra in Jordan is a perfect example. Its magnificent temples and tombs not built upon the rose-red cliffs but carved directly into them. The Nabateans didn't fight the rock, they listened to it, studying the natural striations and faults to determine the best places to carve, creating a city that is both a monumental achievement and an organic part of the mountain. Similarly, the ancestral Puebloan cliff dwellings at Mesa Verde in Colorado are nestled into dramatic alcoves high on canyon walls, their stone masonry blending so perfectly with the surrounding rock that they can be nearly invisible from a distance. This wasn't just about finding a convenient shelter, it was a profound philosophy of coexistence. The builders understood their environment intimately, positioning their homes to capture the winter sun for warmth and the summer shade for coolness, using natural overhangs for protection from the elements. This harmonious relationship creates a beauty that is both aesthetic and deeply functional, speaking to a level of sustainability that feels remarkably modern. For today's traveler who is increasingly aware of humanity's impact on the planet, visiting these places is not just a sightseeing trip, it's a lesson in living in balance. The journey to reach them often reinforces this connection. Getting to Machu Picchu isn't just a bus ride. For many, it's a multi-day trek along the Inca Trail, winding through cloud forests and over mountain passes, a physical effort that makes the final arrival at the Sun Gate feel like a true reward. The remote, dramatic settings of these wonders add a layer of adventure that pure architecture cannot. You aren't just visiting a building, you are embarking on an expedition to a place where nature and human history are inextricably linked. This combination of breathtaking natural splendor and awe-inspiring human achievement creates a powerful, almost spiritual draw, reminding us that the greatest legacies are not those that conquer the environment, but those that honor it. Yet this journey is rarely just a solitary one. The profound impact of visiting these ancient sites is often amplified by the very act of sharing the experience with others. We travel with friends to split the cost of a guide, we bring our families to create lasting memories, or we simply find ourselves standing next to a stranger, both of you struck silent by the same breathtaking view. This social dimension adds a powerful, often overlooked layer to the entire experience. Think about it, watching the sunrise over the temples of Angkor Wat is magical on its own, but sharing that golden, silent moment with a loved one, or even exchanging a look of pure wonder with a fellow traveler you've just met, transforms it into a shared memory that becomes a cornerstone of your relationship. These places become the backdrop for our most meaningful human connections, the collective gasp from a crowd as they enter the vast interior of the Hagia Sophia for the first time, or the shared laughter while trying to capture the perfect group photo with the Leaning Tower of Pisa. These are the moments that bind us. They create a unique sense of community, a temporary tribe of explorers all united by a common feeling of awe. In our increasingly digital and often isolated modern lives, these real-world, shared emotional experiences are more valuable than ever. They pull us out of our individual bubbles and remind us of our fundamental need for connection. We aren't just collecting passport stamps, we are collecting stories to tell together for years to come. That desire to share the wonder, to point at something magnificent and say, "Look, can you believe this?" to someone else is a deeply human impulse. It turns a personal pilgrimage into a communal celebration of human achievement, making the joy of discovery twice as sweet because it's joy that is multiplied, not divided. This powerful social pull ensures that these ancient wonders remain not just places we visit, but places where we connect, making the journey as much about the people we share it with as the stones we've come to see. But the power of these places isn't just in the silent contemplation they inspire. It's also found in the shared moments of discovery that turn a personal journey into a collective memory. When we travel to these ancient sites, we rarely do it entirely alone. We bring our partners to celebrate an anniversary. We take our children to spark their curiosity about the world. Or we meet up with old friends, using the trip as a chance to reconnect against a backdrop of something truly extraordinary. This social layer transforms the experience from a simple visual spectacle into a deeply emotional event that's woven into the fabric of our most important relationships. Think about the laughter that erupts when your entire group gets hopelessly lost trying to find the correct path through the Roman Forum, or the hushed, shared silence that falls over your family as you all step into the cool, dim interior of an Egyptian tomb for the very first time. These aren't just fleeting moments, they become the stories you tell for decades, the inside jokes and the shared points of reference that strengthen your bond long after you've returned home. There's a unique magic in the collective gasp of a crowd witnessing the sun's first rays illuminate the intricate carvings of Angkor Wat, a moment where you feel connected not just to the person next to you, but to every other soul sharing that same breathtaking view. Strangers become temporary companions in awe, exchanging smiles and knowing glances without saying a single word. In our current age, where so much of our interaction is filtered through screens and mediated by digital likes, these raw, unfiltered, real-world connections feel more precious than ever. They satisfy a deep human craving for genuine, shared presence. We don't just want to see the Acropolis, we want to turn to someone we care about, see the same wonder reflected in their eyes, and know that we are experiencing something profound together. That desire to share the excitement, to have a co-conspirator in adventure, is a massive part of what makes these ancient wonders so perennially appealing. They become the magnificent stage upon which we build some of our most cherished human connections. There's a profound difference between simply arriving at a destination and truly earning the view. In an age where you can be whisked across the globe in the comfort of a pressurized cabin and have virtually any piece of information delivered to your pocket in seconds, the journey to many ancient wonders offers a precious and increasingly rare commodity, the thrill of genuine, unscripted adventure. This isn't about a leisurely stroll from a tour bus to a viewpoint. This is about the physical and mental commitment required to reach places that have deliberately remained elusive. Think of the multi-day trek along the Inca Trail, where you labor for hours up steep mountain passes, your muscles aching, only to be rewarded on the final morning by passing through the Sun Gate and watching the mist slowly unveil the lost city of Machu Picchu sprawled out below. That moment of breathtaking revelation isn't just a visual spectacle, it's a visceral emotion, a cocktail of exhaustion, triumph, and awe that you've quite literally worked for every step of the way. This transformative process taps into something primal within us, our innate curiosity and a deep-seated love for a challenge. It's the same spirit that drove the early explorers and archaeologists who first hacked through dense jungles or crossed treacherous deserts to document these sites for the world. Their journals speak of hardship and uncertainty, but also of the unparalleled exhilaration of being the first to lay eyes on a forgotten temple or a silent statue for centuries. While we may not be the first to discover these places today, we can still capture a taste of that original excitement. The journey itself becomes a narrative filled with small challenges and unpredictable moments. It might be navigating a bustling local market to find the right guide, deciphering a faded sign in a language you don't understand, or simply mustering the courage to try a new food from a street vendor. This element of the unknown is intoxicating. It strips away the sterile predictability of modern life and replaces it with a sense of agency and accomplishment. The destination, magnificent as it is, becomes the glorious finale to your own personal epic. The sweat on your brow, the dust on your boots, and the slight disorientation of being far outside your comfort zone all serve to heighten your senses and deepen your appreciation. You haven't just been delivered to a photo opportunity, you have embarked on a quest and emerged victorious. This powerful blend of physical effort and raw exhilaration is a fundamental and often overlooked driver of wanderlust. It answers a modern yearning not just to see the world, but to actively engage with it, to feel the burn in your legs and the wonder in your heart, and to return home with stories that are about so much more than just the stones you saw. Perhaps the most profound gift these ancient sites offer is the chance to become a student again, no matter your age or background. They are the world's most dynamic classrooms, where the walls themselves are the textbooks and the curriculum spans the entirety of human ingenuity. This isn't learning filtered through a screen or flattened onto a page. It's a full sensory immersion into history, archaeology, art, and engineering. You can read about Roman concrete 100 times, but it's an entirely different thing to stand inside the Pantheon, to run your hand over its cool, massive walls and look up at that vast, unsupported dome that has defied gravity for nearly 2 millennia. That tactile experience, that feeling of awe, etches the lesson into your memory far more deeply than any fact ever could. It makes abstract concepts viscerally real. You're not just told the Inca were master stonemasons, you see it with your own eyes at Machu Picchu, tracing the impossibly tight seams between giant stones cut with such precision that they have withstood centuries of earthquakes. This hands-on education appeals to everyone, from the wide-eyed schoolchild on a field trip seeing a pyramid for the first time to the retired engineer who can finally appreciate the sheer mechanical genius behind the Egyptian pulley systems they've read about for years. The learning is amplified exponentially by the guides and experts who bring these stones to life. A local guide in Giza can point to a specific mark on a limestone block and explain it was the quarryman's signature from 4,500 years ago, suddenly making an anonymous laborer feel heartbreakingly real and present. An archaeologist leading a tour of Pompeii can describe the final moments of the city not as a historical event, but by showing you the ruts in the street worn down by chariot wheels and the faded frescoes advertising a taverna, painting a vivid picture of daily life frozen in time. This contextual knowledge transforms a ruin from a collection of old rocks into a living, breathing community. It satisfies a deep and enduring human thirst for understanding, for connecting the dots of our past to make sense of our present. We travel to these places not just to see them, but to truly comprehend them, to broaden our horizons and gain perspectives that can only be earned by walking the ground where history unfolded. This relentless pursuit of knowledge, this desire for an education that is felt as much as it is understood, is what keeps the relevance of these ancient wonders eternally fresh, ensuring they continue to inspire learners and explorers for generations to come. Yet in our hyper-connected world, where notifications constantly pull at our attention and the pace of life seems to accelerate by the day, ancient wonders offer something increasingly rare and precious, a complete and total escape. This isn't just a change of scenery, it's a fundamental shift in reality. Stepping into the quiet, sun-dappled courtyard of a 2,000-year-old temple in Kyoto, you are immediately struck by the profound silence. The only sounds are the rustle of leaves in the wind and the distant chime of a bell, a world away from the relentless ping of emails and the hum of traffic. This is a deliberate departure from the modern rhythm of immediacy, a place where time is measured not in seconds but in centuries. The very architecture of these sites encourages a different way of being. There are no screens, no Wi-Fi passwords to ask for, no urgent demands. Instead, you are surrounded by structures that were built to last, crafted from stone and earth with a patience and permanence that stands in direct opposition to our disposable, fast fashion culture. This environment forces a kind of psychological reset. The constant low-grade anxiety of modern life, the feeling that you should always be doing something, simply begins to melt away when you're sitting in the shadow of a pyramid that has witnessed the rise and fall of dozens of civilizations. Your own worries, which felt so massive just hours before, are gently placed into a much larger, more comforting perspective. You are a brief visitor in a story that is millennia long, and that realization is strangely liberating. It grants a permission slip to simply be, to breathe, to observe without the pressure to react or respond. This is the true gift these places offer, a sanctuary for the mind. It's why travelers make pilgrimages to the ruins of Delphi, not just to see the stones where the oracle once sat, but to feel the same quiet awe that ancient seekers felt, to find a moment of clarity away from the noise. This deep psychological need for mental space and emotional rejuvenation is a powerful, often unspoken driver behind the desire to travel to these hallowed grounds. We aren't just running to something ancient, we are running from the overwhelming now, seeking the profound peace that can only be found in the enduring embrace of the past. There is a unique alchemy that happens when a creative mind encounters the sublime beauty of an ancient wonder. It's as if a direct line is opened to the artisans of the past. For centuries, these sites have served as the world's most illustrious and enduring muse, sparking a creative fire in everyone from grand masters to casual hobbyists. The intricate, story-filled bas-reliefs spiraling up the temples of Borobudur in Indonesia don't just depict the path to enlightenment. They are a masterclass in narrative art, each panel a frozen moment in a vast spiritual epic that has inspired countless painters and sculptors to think more ambitiously about their own work. Similarly, the hauntingly preserved frescoes on the walls of Pompeii's villas offer a breathtakingly intimate glimpse into the daily life, mythology, and aesthetic sensibilities of an ancient people, their vibrant colors and dynamic figures influencing art movements from the Renaissance to neoclassicism. This isn't a one-way street of passive observation, it's an active, creative dialogue across time. A modern traveler gazing upon the enigmatic moai of Easter Island isn't just seeing a row of giant stone faces. They are witnessing the culmination of immense artistic vision, logistical genius, and profound cultural belief, and that combination can be utterly electrifying. It challenges a photographer to not just take a picture, but to capture the imposing silence and mystery of the place. It compels a writer to imagine the society that could create such monuments and then vanish, spinning tales that bridge history and fiction. It pushes a painter to experiment with texture and light, trying to render the way the desert sun strikes weathered stone. This process transforms the act of travel from a simple vacation into a deeply personal and productive pilgrimage. You are no longer just a tourist consuming a site. You become an apprentice learning from the ultimate masters. The sketchbook comes out, the camera lens focuses, the notes are jotted down, all in an attempt to not only remember what you saw, but to internalize its beauty and make it a part of your own creative voice. This opportunity to draw directly from the well of human history is a powerful lure for anyone who feels that itch to create, offering a timeless inspiration that no modern gallery or digital image can ever truly replicate. But this incredible privilege of witnessing history firsthand comes with a profound and growing responsibility. the very act of admiring these ancient wonders can, ironically, contribute to their slow demise. This is the central challenge of preservation and ethical tourism, a modern dilemma that adds a powerful new layer of meaning to our wanderlust. We are no longer just passive spectators, we are active participants in the fate of these fragile sites. The gentle sigh of a million breaths inside the Lascaux caves, filled with moisture and carbon dioxide, was enough to irreparably damage prehistoric paintings that had survived for 17,000 years, forcing their permanent closure to the public. This story serves as a sobering reminder of our collective impact. The threats are multifaceted and relentless. The stone feet of the Rapa Nui Moe on Easter Island are slowly being eaten away by rising sea levels and intensifying salt spray, a direct consequence of a changing climate. The very foundations of Venice, a living museum itself, are threatened by Acqua Alta, the high waters that flood its piazzas with increasing frequency and severity. And then there is the sheer weight of numbers over tourism. The ancient marble steps of the Acropolis are worn dangerously thin, not by centuries of occasional use, but by the relentless tread of millions of modern visitors each year. This creates a painful paradox. Our love for these places, our desire to connect with them, is literally loving them to death. This awareness, however, is not meant to deter us but to transform us. It encourages a shift from being mere consumers of culture to becoming conscientious stewards. This might mean choosing to visit during the shoulder season to reduce crowding, selecting tour operators who invest a portion of their profits directly into local conservation efforts, or simply adhering to the basic rules, not touching the fragile surfaces, not straying from marked paths, and never removing so much as a pebble as a souvenir. Learning about these preservation battles doesn't cast a shadow over the travel experience. Instead, it deepens it immeasurably. Understanding that the stunning vibrancy of the frescoes in the tomb of Nefertari is the result of a painstaking, multi-year restoration makes their beauty even more poignant. Knowing that your entry fee to places like Petra or Machu Picchu directly funds ongoing archaeological work and site maintenance makes you a partner in their survival. This sense of purpose, of contributing to something larger than yourself, elevates a holiday into a pilgrimage of preservation. It answers a modern desire for travel that is not just enriching for the self, but also responsible towards the world. The urgency to see these treasures now, before they are changed forever or closed for their own protection, is a powerful and poignant driver of modern exploration. It's a call to witness, to appreciate, and to help ensure that the awe we feel today can be felt by generations yet to come. Perhaps what is most striking about our reaction to these places is how immediate and instinctive it feels. You don't need an art history degree to feel your breath catch at the first sight of the Taj Mahal's perfect white marble dome, reflected in its long water channel. That response is primal, a deep-seated recognition of harmony and proportion that seems to be woven into the very fabric of human consciousness. This is the universal quest for beauty in action, a drive that transcends the language we speak, the gods we worship, or the century we were born in. These ancient architects tapped into something fundamental, a shared visual language of beauty that speaks directly to us across the chasms of time and culture. They understood the power of the golden ratio in the Parthenon's facade, creating columns that appear perfectly straight to the naked eye by ingeniously designing them with a slight curve to counteract optical illusion. They mastered the interplay of light and shadow in the delicate stone filigree of India's Jain temples, making solid rock seem as light and airy as lace. This isn't merely decoration, it is the pursuit of an ideal, a manifestation of a culture's highest aspirations carved in stone for all eternity. When we stand before these achievements, we are not just seeing a beautiful building, we are witnessing a moment of pure, unadulterated human excellence. In our modern world, which can often feel chaotic, mass-produced, and transient, these sites offer a rare and precious encounter with a sense of perfection. They are anchors of timelessness in a sea of constant change, reminding us of our capacity to create things of enduring grace and significance. This shared appreciation becomes a powerful force for connection. A tourist from Tokyo, a student from Buenos Aires, and a local guide from Cairo can all stand together in the shadow of the Great Pyramid, and without exchanging a single word, they are united by the same overwhelming feeling of awe. They are all participating in the same silent, global conversation about what it means to create something truly magnificent. This collective experience fosters a profound sense of global community, a realization that despite our many differences, we are all drawn to the same sources of inspiration and wonder. The hunger for this feeling, for these encounters with the sublime, is what ultimately keeps these ancient wonders at the very top of our travel dreams. We journey across the world not just to see them, but to feel, for a moment, that we are in the presence of something perfect. It's as if the architects of the ancient world were not just builders, but master choreographers of nature itself, designing their grandest works to perform a silent, spectacular dance with the sun, the moon, and the very air around them. This deliberate interplay of light and atmosphere transforms static stone into a living spectacle, creating moments of such breathtaking beauty that they feel almost like a secret whispered across the centuries, waiting for the right person at the right time to hear it. Consider the Pantheon in Rome, a marvel of engineering that has stood for nearly 2,000 years. At its apex is the oculus, a single, circular opening to the sky. It is more than just a window, it is the soul of the building. Throughout the day, a brilliant shaft of sunlight pours through this opening, slowly traveling across the immense interior like a celestial spotlight. It illuminates the intricate marble floors, highlights different niches in the rotunda, and creates a moving tableau of light and shadow that marks the passage of time with a quiet, majestic authority. On April 21st, the city's founding date, the sun strikes precisely above the doorway, a deliberate alignment that would have bathed the entering emperor in a divine glow. This is not a happy accident. It is a calculated fusion of astronomy, architecture, and imperial power designed to awe every person who stepped inside. Then there is the profound mystery of Stonehenge on the summer solstice. For most of the year, the ancient stone circle stands silent and imposing on the Salisbury Plain, its purpose debated by scholars. But on that one specific morning, as the sun crests the horizon, its first rays align perfectly with the heel stone, shooting a beam of light directly into the heart of the monument. This alignment is so precise that it feels intentional, a prehistoric calendar carved from sarsen stone, inviting thousands of modern pilgrims to gather and witness this annual rebirth of the sun. The experience is communal and deeply moving, a shared silence that falls over the crowd as the golden light spills across the ancient stones, connecting everyone present to the enigmatic people who went to such incredible lengths to capture this exact moment in time. And we cannot forget the haunting glow of the Giza pyramids under the light of a full moon. The harsh Egyptian sun reveals every crack and imperfection, but the moonlight transforms the landscape into something entirely different, something ethereal and soft. The massive limestone blocks seem to absorb the silvery light and radiate it back, making the pyramids appear less like tombs and more like spectral, otherworldly beings resting on the edge of the desert. This atmospheric alchemy adds a layer of magic and exclusivity to the travel experience. It compels us to become more than just tourists. It turns us into patient seekers, carefully planning our pilgrimages to coincide with these fleeting celestial events. We check solstice dates, moon phases, and weather forecasts with the dedication of a scientist, all in pursuit of that perfect, transcendent moment. The anticipation itself becomes a part of the adventure, a delicious build-up of excitement that makes the final witnessing all the more powerful. We aren't just visiting a site, we are attending a performance that has been running for millennia, and we have a front row seat for one show only. This powerful collaboration between human genius and natural wonder creates the most unforgettable memories, the kind that are seared into our minds not just as something we saw, but as something we felt, a profound connection to the cosmos, orchestrated by the hands of our ancient ancestors. There is a profound and deeply human impulse captured in the silent gaze of the Great Sphinx or the ranked thousands of the Terracotta Army, a burning desire to shout into the future, "I was here." These monuments are far more than tourist attractions. They are the ultimate act of defiance against the inevitability of oblivion. The pharaohs, emperors, and nameless cultures who poured their collective spirit, labor, and genius into these projects were engaged in the most ambitious project imaginable, the quest for immortality. They understood that while flesh and bone are fleeting, stone and story could endure, carrying their memory, their power, and their identity across millennia. This wasn't simply about vanity. It was about securing a place in the eternal narrative of humanity, ensuring that their civilization would not be erased by the sands of time. When we stand before these testaments to permanence, we are not just looking at ancient art. We are reading a message deliberately sent to us, the future, a message that says, "Remember me." This ancient yearning resonates with a startling intimacy in the modern heart. In a world that often feels ephemeral, where digital footprints can be deleted with a click and trends vanish in a week, the sheer physical solidity of these wonders offers a powerful counterpoint. They force a moment of quiet, personal reflection that is increasingly rare. You find yourself running a hand over stone worn smooth by countless hands before yours, and the question arises, almost unbidden, what will I leave behind? The scale of a pyramid doesn't just make us feel small in space, it makes us feel brief in time. This confrontation with our own mortality is not meant to be depressing, but rather liberating and perspective-shifting. It pulls us out of the narrow concerns of our daily lives and asks us to consider our role in a much larger story. What mark will we make? How will we be remembered by our children's children? Will our own lives contribute something of value that outlasts us, even in a small way? This meditation on legacy is one of the most unexpected and valuable gifts these sites offer, turning a vacation into a pilgrimage of self-discovery. This contemplation is amplified by the stunning ambition on display. The Terracotta Army wasn't built in a year. It was a multi-generational project, a vast undertaking that required the belief that an emperor's power could and should extend beyond his own death. Each of the thousands of unique soldiers, with their individualized faces and detailed armor, represents an astonishing investment in a legacy that the emperor himself would never see completed. He was playing the ultimate long game, betting on the permanence of his crafted empire. Similarly, the Great Sphinx, carved directly from the living bedrock of the Giza Plateau, represents a fusion of human creativity with the very earth itself, an attempt to create something so fundamental it would appear to have always existed. The audacity of such visions is breathtaking. It reminds us that the greatest human achievements often require looking beyond the horizon of a single lifetime, investing in a future we will never personally witness. This long-term thinking stands in stark contrast to our modern focus on quarterly reports and instant gratification, offering a powerful lesson in patience, vision, and the kind of ambition that builds civilizations. Ultimately, engaging with these timeless achievements does more than just inspire awe. It invites us to become part of their ongoing story. By visiting, learning, and sharing these places, we become the latest chapter in their long history. We are the ones who continue to remember the pharaohs, who marvel at the ingenuity of the Qin dynasty, who ensure that the legacy they fought so hard to create remains alive and relevant. This role as a steward of history adds a profound layer of meaning to the act of travel. We are not passive consumers of a view, we are active participants in the preservation of human memory. This connection to the eternal, this chance to touch immortality through the proxy of these ancient wonders, satisfies a deep and fundamental human need to matter, to be part of something that will endure. It is a powerful and poignant draw, reminding us that while our individual lives may be short, the story of humanity is long and magnificent, and we each have a part to play in it. We often think of history as something we see in a museum case or read about in a book, a two-dimensional experience kept at a safe distance. But to walk through an ancient wonder is to shatter that glass barrier and step directly into a living, breathing, multi-sensory world. This is not a passive observation. It is a full-bodied immersion that engages every one of your senses, stitching the experience directly into your memory with a vividness that a photograph could never hope to achieve. Consider the simple, profound act of touch. In the Roman Forum, you can place your palm on a sun-warmed marble column that has stood for 2,000 years. The stone might be cool in the shade, still holding the chill of the night, or hot from the afternoon sun. And in that simple tactile sensation, you are not just learning about history, you are feeling its very temperature. You can trace the grooves worn into the travertine steps of the Colosseum, dips created by the footsteps of countless ancient spectators, and suddenly the passage of centuries is measured not in years, but in the slow, patient erosion of stone by countless human lives. Then there is the dimension of sound, an element so often forgotten yet so powerful in its ability to transport you. In the heart of the Great Pyramid, deep within the king's chamber, the ordinary noises of the modern world vanish, replaced by a profound, almost oppressive silence. But then you speak or simply shuffle your feet, and the sound echoes off the massive, precisely placed granite walls, bouncing around the confined space in a way that feels both ancient and alien. That specific acoustic signature, a low reverberation that seems to come from the stone itself, is the same sound a pharaoh's priests would have heard during sacred rituals millennia ago. Or stand in the center of the Hagia Sophia in Istanbul, look up into its vast dome and listen. You will hear the distant murmur of visitors, the soft shuffle of feet on ancient stone, and the haunting, melodic call to prayer that has echoed through this space for centuries, first as a church, then a mosque, and now a museum. This layered soundtrack is a direct auditory link to every era the building has witnessed, and we cannot forget the powerful, often unexpected trigger of smell. The scent of old stone after a rain, a fragrance known as petrichor, has a particular dusty, mineral quality in arid places like Petra or the Egyptian desert, instantly evoking a sense of ancient dryness and age. In a temple in Kyoto, the air might be faintly tinged with the smoke of centuries-old incense, a sweet, woody aroma that has permeated the very wood of the structure, creating an olfactory atmosphere of timeless devotion. Even the absence of modern smells is notable. The clean, dry air inside a tomb in the Valley of the Kings is free of pollution and contemporary odors, allowing you to feel for a moment that you have stepped outside of your own time. This rich tapestry of sensory information does something remarkable to our brain. Neuroscientists tell us that memories tied to multiple senses are far stronger and more durable than those relying on sight alone. The cool marble under your hand, the echo in the chamber, the scent of incense, these are not separate facts to be memorized. They are woven together into a holistic, embodied memory. You don't just remember seeing the pyramid, you remember the feeling of the pyramid. This is what transforms a tourist visit into a genuine experience. It makes history feel immediate, tangible, and breathtakingly real, because you are not just learning about the past with your mind, you are experiencing it with your entire being, and that is a sensation that calls to us on a deeply primal level, promising a connection that is felt in the bones, not just understood in the brain. This profound sensory engagement paves the way for an even deeper, more personal form of connection, one that reaches into the very core of who we are and where we come from. For a tremendous number of modern travelers, the journey to an ancient wonder is far more than a vacation. It is a homecoming. It is an act of walking back through time to stand on the ground where their own ancestors lived, loved, struggled, and built their world. This is the powerful pull of ancestral roots, a motivation that transforms sightseeing into a pilgrimage of identity and belonging. Imagine a person of Navajo descent standing for the first time within the breathtaking cliff dwellings at Mesa Verde in Colorado. This is not merely an interesting archaeological site to them. It is the home of their forebears, the ancestral Pueblones. They can place their hand in a handprint left centuries ago in the drying clay of a wall, a silent, tangible greeting across the generations. They can look out from the same high alcove their ancestors did, seeing the same sun set over the same mesas, and feel a connection that is both deeply spiritual and intensely personal. This experience is not about learning history from a book. It is about feeling history in your blood. It is a powerful reclamation of a narrative that might have been disrupted by colonization, migration, or time itself. It fosters an immense sense of pride, resilience, and continuity, answering a fundamental human question: where do I come from? This same profound emotional resonance is felt by a person of Shona heritage visiting the majestic ruins of Great Zimbabwe in southern Africa. To see the soaring, dry stone walls of the great enclosure, built without mortar yet standing strong for over 800 years, is to witness the architectural genius and complex social organization of their own civilization. It directly counters centuries of colonial narratives that wrongly attributed these sophisticated structures to outsiders, proving the power and ingenuity of ancient African kingdoms. For a descendant, this is not a ruin. It is a testament to their legacy, a source of immense pride that strengthens cultural identity and instills a powerful sense of place in the long story of humanity. The visit becomes an act of honoring those who came before and carrying their story forward. Yet, you absolutely do not need a direct genetic link to a place to feel this stirring sense of connection. These sites also speak to a broader, universal ancestry. When we walk through the Roman Forum, we are walking in the footsteps of people who grappled with ideas of law, governance, and citizenship that would go on to shape the entire Western world. When we gaze at the Great Pyramid, we are marveling at an achievement of a civilization that, while culturally distant from many of us, was nonetheless human. They possess the same capacity for wonder, ambition, and intellect that we do. This realization is incredibly unifying. It breaks down the artificial barriers of nationality and reminds us that we all spring from ancient roots, that every culture on Earth has a story of origin filled with brilliance and perseverance. This exploration satisfies a deep, almost primal yearning to understand our collective human journey and to find our own small place within that vast, sprawling tapestry. It is the desire to touch the stones they touched and to see the world, if only for a moment, through their eyes, making the journey to these wonders one of the most meaningful and transformative a person can ever take. But this magnetic pull towards the past is now being supercharged by the very tools of the future. We live in an extraordinary time where the power to explore these ancient wonders is no longer limited to those with the means to embark on a long journey. It can begin with a click, a swipe, or the donning of a virtual reality headset right in our own living rooms. This evolution of travel technology has fundamentally changed our relationship with history, acting as both a tantalizing preview and a rich, contextual companion that deepens our appreciation in ways previously unimaginable. Through immersive 360-degree virtual tours, we can now float above the stone circle of Stonehenge, zooming in on the intricate carvings of the Sarsens without a single tourist blocking our view. We can descend into the heart of the Great Pyramid and navigate its narrow passageways, an experience that would be impossible for many in the physical world due to preservation concerns or physical limitations. These digital experiences are not meant to replace the real thing. Rather, they are the ultimate aperitif, a sophisticated technological amuse-bouche that sharpens our hunger for the authentic encounter. They allow us to study the layout of the Roman Forum before we go, so that when we finally walk its sacred path, we aren't just seeing a jumble of rocks. We can visualize the Grand Basilica Julia on one side and the Temple of Saturn on the other, effectively rebuilding the city in our mind's eye as we stroll through its ruins. This preparatory power extends far beyond virtual reality. The wealth of detailed online resources available today transforms every traveler into an informed amateur historian. With a few keystrokes, we can access high-resolution satellite imagery of the Nazca Lines, read translated ancient texts about the construction of the Parthenon, or watch detailed video explanations from leading archaeologists about the water management systems of Angkor Wat. This depth of knowledge, once confined to academic journals and library archives, is now democratized, placing context and expertise directly into our pockets. This transforms the on-site experience from one of passive sightseeing into active discovery. We arrive not as blank slates, but as engaged participants, already knowing the significance of what we are about to see. We can then use our smartphones on location to access augmented reality apps that overlay digital reconstructions onto the crumbling ruins, allowing us to point our camera at a few remaining columns and see a complete, vibrant temple spring to life on our screen. This seamless blending of the ancient physical world with digital augmentation adds a captivating layer of understanding, helping to bridge the vast gap between the monument's current state and its original glory. Furthermore, the ability to meticulously plan and then instantly share our journeys weaves a new social fabric around these ancient sites. Digital platforms and mapping tools allow us to craft the perfect itinerary, reading reviews of local guides who specialize in the esoteric history of the Minoans, or finding that secluded entrance to the Valley of the Kings that avoids the largest crowd. Then, in the moment, we can share our experience in real time, posting a photo from the summit of Masada as the sun rises over the Dead Sea, connecting our personal awe instantly with friends and family across the globe. This act of sharing does more than just feed our social media profiles. It contributes to a collective, ongoing digital narrative about these places, inspiring others to add them to their own bucket lists and ensuring their stories continue to be told and retold in a modern dialect. This synergy of the very old and the very new creates a fascinating dialogue across time. We are using the pinnacle of human innovation: satellites, digital servers, and global networks to celebrate and understand the pinnacle of ancient human achievement. It keeps these wonders vibrantly relevant for a generation that lives its life online, proving that their power is not diminished by technology, but amplified by it, ensuring the wanderlust they inspire will burn brightly for centuries to come. But the impact of our journey extends far beyond our own personal transformation, rippling out into the very communities that are the guardians of these ancient sites. When we choose to visit the temples of Angkor Wat, we aren't just funding the upkeep of the stones. We are providing a livelihood for the family that runs a small restaurant in Siem Reap, for the artisan who weaves traditional silk scarves, and for the local guide whose grandfather passed down stories about the temple's legends. This economic symbiosis adds a powerful, rewarding layer of social responsibility to our wanderlust. For many of these communities, tourism isn't a side industry. It is the primary engine of the local economy, the difference between a village thriving and its young people moving away for opportunities elsewhere. Our presence directly contributes to the preservation of the very culture we've traveled so far to experience. The revenue from entry fees and tours funds critical archaeological conservation, preventing these fragile structures from succumbing to jungle growth or the relentless march of erosion. But the support goes even deeper, helping to sustain intangible cultural heritage, the traditional dance performances, the ancient craft techniques, the recipes that have been handed down through generations. These living traditions are not performances put on for tourists. They are the vibrant, ongoing culture of a people, and our interest and financial support provide a compelling reason for the younger generation to learn and continue these practices, ensuring they are not lost to globalization. This exchange transforms a transactional visit into a meaningful cultural conversation. Instead of simply viewing a monument and moving on, we have the opportunity to engage with the living culture that has stewarded this wonder for centuries. We can learn to cook a traditional dish from a local chef, understanding how the spices and techniques are a part of their history. We can watch a master woodcarver recreate the same motifs found on the temple walls, appreciating the skill and patience required. This engagement moves us from being passive observers to active participants in a story that is still being written. It deepens our understanding immeasurably. The Grand Temple is no longer just an isolated ruin but the heart of a living community, its history woven into the daily lives of the people around it. We begin to see the connections between the ancient symbols carved in stone and the patterns on the textiles sold in the market, between the stories told by the guide and the values held by the community today. This enriches our experience beyond measure, making it about more than just the past. It becomes about the present and the future of this place and its people. This creates a beautiful, symbiotic relationship where everyone benefits. The traveler gains a far richer, more authentic, and deeply contextual understanding of the site, an experience that feels purposeful and connected. The local community gains the economic means to preserve their heritage, share their culture with a respectful global audience, and take pride in their role as custodians of a world treasure. This awareness is increasingly shaping how modern travelers choose their destinations and plan their trips. There is a growing desire to ensure our footprints are positive ones, that our exploration contributes to preservation rather than detracts from it. We seek out locally owned guest houses, hire guides from the community, and buy handicrafts directly from the artisans. This mindful approach transforms the very nature of travel from an act of consumption into an act of partnership. It fulfills a modern yearning for journeys that are not just personally enriching but also ethically sound and socially responsible, adding a profound sense of purpose to our innate desire to explore the wonders of our world. Yet this incredible privilege of witnessing history firsthand comes with a profound and growing responsibility. The very act of admiring these ancient wonders can, ironically, contribute to their slow demise. This is the central challenge of preservation and ethical tourism, a modern dilemma that adds a powerful new layer of meaning to our wanderlust. We are no longer just passive spectators, we are active participants in the fate of these fragile sites. The gentle sigh of a million breaths inside the Lascaux caves, filled with moisture and carbon dioxide, was enough to irreparably damage prehistoric paintings that had survived for 17,000 years, forcing their permanent closure to the public. This story serves as a sobering reminder of our collective impact. The threats are multifaceted and relentless. The stone feet of the Rapa Nui Moe on Easter Island are slowly being eaten away by rising sea levels and intensifying salt spray, a direct consequence of a changing climate. The very foundations of Venice, a living museum itself, are threatened by Acqua Alta, the high waters that flood its piazzas with increasing frequency and severity. And then there is the sheer weight of numbers over tourism. The ancient marble steps of the Acropolis are worn dangerously thin, not by centuries of occasional use, but by the relentless tread of millions of modern visitors each year. This creates a painful paradox. Our love for these places, our desire to connect with them, is literally loving them to death. This awareness, however, is not meant to deter us but to transform us. It encourages a shift from being mere consumers of culture to becoming conscientious stewards. This might mean choosing to visit during the shoulder season to reduce crowding, selecting tour operators who invest a portion of their profits directly into local conservation efforts, or simply adhering to the basic rules, not touching the fragile surfaces, not straying from marked paths, and never removing so much as a pebble as a souvenir. Learning about these preservation battles doesn't cast a shadow over the travel experience. Instead, it deepens it immeasurably. Understanding that the stunning vibrancy of the frescoes in the tomb of Nefertari is the result of a painstaking, multi-year restoration makes their beauty even more poignant. Knowing that your entry fee to places like Petra or Machu Picchu directly funds ongoing archaeological work and site maintenance makes you a partner in their survival. This sense of purpose, of contributing to something larger than yourself, elevates a holiday into a pilgrimage of preservation. It answers a modern desire for travel that is not just enriching for the self, but also responsible towards the world. The urgency to see these treasures now, before they are changed forever or closed for their own protection, is a powerful and poignant driver of modern exploration. It's a call to witness, to appreciate, and to help ensure that the awe we feel today can be felt by generations yet to come. We now stand at a fascinating crossroads where the timeless allure of these ancient sites is colliding with the urgent realities of the 21st century, fundamentally reshaping what it means to be a traveler. The future of experiencing these wonders is not about closing the doors to the past, but about innovating new, more sustainable ways to keep them open. This evolution is being driven by three powerful forces: the undeniable impacts of climate change, the pressing challenge of over-tourism, and the breathtaking rise of new technology. The conversation is shifting from simply, "How can I get there?" to "How can I visit responsibly?" and "How can we ensure this lasts?" In response, we're seeing the rapid adoption of thoughtful new models. Major sites from Machu Picchu to the Palace of Versailles have implemented strictly timed entry tickets and visitor caps, moving away from the free-for-all of the past towards a more managed, contemplative experience. This isn't about limiting access, but about enhancing it, trading crowded, noisy encounters for quieter, more meaningful moments where you can actually hear the wind through the stones and feel the weight of history without being jostled by the crowd. Simultaneously, technology is offering revolutionary tools that complement physical travel rather than replace it. For those who cannot make the journey due to physical or financial constraints, incredibly detailed virtual reality tours now offer a profound alternative. You can put on a headset and float through the inner chambers of the Great Pyramid, examining the walls from inches away in a way that would never be permitted in person. These digital experiences also serve as powerful educational preludes, allowing us to arrive at a site already understanding its layout and significance, so we can spend our precious time there in deeper observation rather than basic orientation. And for the sites themselves, this technology is a lifeline. Drones and three-dimensional laser scanning are creating perfect digital records of every crack and hieroglyph, archival snapshots that will allow conservators to monitor decay and even guide future restoration long after the originals have potentially succumbed to the elements. This creates a powerful new ethical dimension to our wanderlust. The decision to travel now comes with a conscious awareness of our footprint. We are invited to reflect on the ethics of our exploration, to choose carbon-neutral journeys, to support local economies, and to travel in a way that feels less like extraction and more like contribution. This forward-thinking mindset adds a layer of intellectual satisfaction to the emotional thrill of the journey. There's a growing sense of urgency and curiosity, a desire to see these places in their current state, to be among the last generations to witness them in a form their builders would still recognize before the necessary interventions of preservation change them forever. This dynamic interplay, this tension between the desperate need to preserve and the profound human need to experience, is what will keep ancient wonders compelling for generations to come. It transforms our relationship with them from one of passive tourism to active stewardship, ensuring that the wanderlust they inspire remains not only alive but adaptive, thoughtful, and deeply responsible. So as our journey through these ancient sites comes to a close, we're left with a profound understanding of why they hold such an irresistible pull over us. It isn't just about the grandeur or the history alone. It's about how these places speak directly to the core of what it means to be human. They answer a deep, almost primal need to feel connected, to the past, to each other, and to something larger than ourselves. In a world that often feels fragmented and fast-paced, these monuments offer a rare sense of continuity and perspective. They remind us that our story is part of a much grander narrative, one that has been unfolding for thousands of years and will continue long after we're gone. This realization is both humbling and incredibly empowering. The experiences these wonders provide are truly multi-layered. They engage us intellectually by challenging our understanding of history and human capability. They stir us emotionally, triggering that powerful sense of awe that can shift our entire perspective. And they transform us spiritually, offering moments of quiet reflection and connection that are increasingly rare in our modern lives. Whether it's the silent majesty of the pyramids at dawn, the intricate carvings of a forgotten temple, or the simple act of walking the same path as countless generations before us, these encounters leave an indelible mark on our souls. They don't just become memories, they become part of who we are, shaping how we see the world and our place within it. This is why the call to protect and preserve these sites is more important than ever. They are not merely relics to be visited and photographed, they are irreplaceable chapters in the story of humanity. Each stone, each carving, each silent corridor holds wisdom and wonder that we are only beginning to fully appreciate. As travelers, we have the privilege and the responsibility to approach these places with respect and mindfulness, ensuring that they continue to inspire and teach generations yet to come. Our wanderlust then becomes more than just a desire to see the world. It becomes a commitment to understanding it, to learning from it, and to protecting its most precious treasures. So whether your next adventure takes you to a well-known marvel or a hidden gem off the beaten path, Remember that you are participating in a tradition as old as humanity itself, the endless, beautiful quest for knowledge, connection, and wonder. These ancient wonders stand as eternal invitations to explore not just the world around us, but the depths of our own potential. They challenge us to dream bigger, to look closer, and to never stop being amazed by the incredible tapestry of human achievement. The journey is yours.